All right, so today we're diving into into a blog post that uses a pretty wild metaphor to teach us about writing.
Okay.
Get this, the author thinks our writing should be like a python.
A python? What, like a snake?
Like a snake. Not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when I think about, crafting a compelling blog post or email.
No, not really.
But the author, Stephen Pinkwart, makes some pretty interesting points.
Okay.
He starts off by saying that most writing is about as exciting as finding a dusty old wooden spoon in the back of your drawer.
Okay.
Functional, maybe, but ultimately forgettable.
Yeah, and especially in today's world where we're just bombarded with content. Every time we open our phones or our computers, forgettable just doesn't cut it.
Doesn't cut it.
You need to grab the reader's attention and hold on tight.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Right.
How do we inject some Python-like energy into our writing?
Yeah.
Well, Pinkwart lays out what he calls the 3 Python hacks.
3 Python hacks. I like it.
The first one is the surprise attack.
Okay.
And it's exactly what it sounds like.
Right.
Forget those boring introductions.
Yeah.
You need to start with a bang, something that completely throws the reader off guard.
Okay, I'm listening.
He uses this example, and I'm quoting here. Your life is an IKEA shelf stable until it collapses, and then you're stuck there with an Allen key and guilt.
Whoa.
Talk about a way to start a blog post.
That's an attention grabber for sure.
Right.
It's unexpected, a little bit funny, and it definitely makes you want to read more.
Yeah.
He's playing with our expectations,
Yeah.
taking something familiar like an IKEA shelf and turning it into this metaphor for like the fragility of life.
Right. Or maybe even just like bad luck.
Yeah, exactly.
So we've got the reader's attention. Now what?
Okay.
Pinkwart says we need to wrap them up gently.
Wrap them up gently.
Okay. This is where storytelling comes in.
Right.
He compares this to the way a python hunts.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't just strike and kill. It slowly constricts its prey, drawing it in before delivering that final blow.
Gotcha.
Your writing should do the same.
Okay.
Draw readers in with relatable stories that evoke emotion and create a connection.
I like it.
He actually compares love to a python.
Oh, boy.
Exciting at first, then constricting, and eventually something you have to be careful not to get crushed by.
Wow. That's
Pretty intense, right?
It's a bold comparison, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely gets you thinking about, the power dynamics in a relationship.
Right.
But it also highlights the importance of being careful with our words.
Yeah.
They can have a powerful effect on people, just like a python's grip.
For sure. All right, so we've surprised them. We've drawn them in.
Okay.
Now it's time for the third hack. Deliver the deadly bite.
The deadly bite. Ooh.
This is about having a clear, concise point to your writing.
Okay.
It's not just about being entertaining or telling a good story.
Right.
You need to leave the reader with something to think about, a message that sticks with them. Pinkwart gets pretty real here.
Uh-oh.
He says, and I quote, "I'm not here to give you hope. I'm here to save your freaking life, or at least talk about it. I'm not here to help you grow, but I've never managed that in my own life."
That's...
No punches pulled?
No, he's not pulling any punches there.
Right.
It's raw, it's honest, and it's kind of refreshing in a world where everyone seems to be trying to sell you something.
Totally.
Or tell you how to live your best life.
Exactly. He's not promising the moon. He's just being real. And that can be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So those are his 3 Python hacks. But he also throws in some what he calls unconventional tips.
Oh, unconventional tips.
To really spice things up.
I like it. All right, let's hear them.
The first one is be the freaking python.
Be the freaking python, okay?
Yeah, I love that one. It's all about being bold and challenging your readers. Don't be afraid to ask tough questions. Make them think, even make them a little uncomfortable.
I like where this is going.
He suggests asking something like, when was the last time you admitted that your life is a mess? Not this, oh, I'm so busy mess. The real, painful, embarrassing chaos.
Okay, he's really not afraid to get personal, is he?
No, he's not.
It's about cutting through the BS and getting to the heart of things.
Right to the heart of things.
Yeah.
Okay, to tip number 2, turn everyday things into monsters.
Turn everyday things into monsters, all right?
This one's all about using unexpected metaphors and analogies.
Okay.
Kind of like you did with the IKEA shelf and the python.
Right.
To make familiar things seem strange and fascinating.
I see.
He compares an IKEA shelf to a soul.
What?
Saying it's something you build, but, it'll break eventually because it was cheaply made and you ignore the instructions.
Oh, my God.
It's a funny image.
It is.
But it also makes you think about the choices we make
Right?
and the foundations we build our lives on.
Yeah, those flimsy little Allen keys.
Right. It's unexpected.
Totally.
It's thought-provoking, and it definitely makes you see IKEA shelves in a whole new light.
Absolutely, and that's the point, right?
Yeah.
By using these unexpected comparisons,
Yeah.
you can help your readers see the world in a new way and make your writing more engaging and memorable.
More engaging and memorable.
Exactly.
That's right.
I love it. All right, so what's his last tip?
Okay, so his last tip is all about the ending.
The ending, okay.
It's called Make the Ending Unforgettable.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Make the ending unforgettable.
Okay, so like a good twist ending.
It's like that final squeeze from the Python, making sure the message really sinks in.
Oh, okay.
He's saying that the way you end a piece of writing can be just as important as how you start it.
I see.
It's your last chance to leave a lasting impression on the reader.
Okay.
He talks about subverting expectations, kind of like he did with that whole IKEA shelf metaphor.
All right.
Remember how he said,
Yeah.
our lives are like these IKEA shelves waiting to collapse?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, at the end of the post, he kind of flips it around.
Oh, really? How so?
He says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the reader is not the Python, but the IKEA customer,
Okay.
who thinks they're just buying a shelf, but ends up with like an existential crisis.
Oh, wow.
It's a clever twist that makes you rethink everything you just read.
It really makes you think about the deeper meaning behind those seemingly simple purchases.
Right, like, is this just a shelf or is it a reflection of my own fragility?
Exactly.
I see what he did there. It's like he's reminding us that even when we think we're in control, life can throw us those unexpected curveballs.
Yeah, and that unexpectedness, that ability to surprise the reader, is what makes Pinkwart's approach to writing so intriguing.
Right. So we've talked about his 3 Python hacks.
Yes.
We've talked about his unconventional tips. But I'm curious to get your take on the bigger picture here.
Okay.
What do you think is the most important takeaway from all of this?
I think it's about being bold and authentic in our writing,
Yeah.
Pinkwart is encouraging us to break free from those conventional rules and formulas and really find our own voice.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, he's not saying we should all start writing like we're wrestling pythons or building IKEA furniture, but rather we should be willing to take risks and experiment with our language.
I think that's a great point.
Yeah, it's about using those unexpected metaphors, asking those uncomfortable questions, and really connecting with the reader on an emotional level.
Yeah.
He wants us to stop playing it safe and start creating writing that truly stands out.
And I think that's something we can all learn from, whether we're writing a blog post, and an email, or even just a text message to a friend.
Absolutely. It's about being mindful of the power of our words and using them in a way that is both engaging and impactful.
So what do you think? Are you ready to unleash your inner textual predator?
I don't know about the predator part, but I'm definitely feeling inspired to try some of Pinkwart's techniques in my own writing.
Yeah, me too. It's like he's given us permission to break the rules and have a little fun with our writing.
Right. And who knows, maybe we'll even surprise ourselves with what we come up with.
Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into this wild world of Python-inspired writing, Pinkwart does mention a resource for those who want to take their writing to the next level.
Oh, a resource. Okay, tell me more.
He has a book called Poetry Master.
Poetry Master. Interesting.
And before you ask, no, it's not just for poets.
Okay, good, because I am not a poet.
From what I've heard, it's packed with practical advice and exercises to help anyone improve their writing.
Okay.
Whether they're writing novels, blog posts, or even just trying to spice up their emails.
Interesting.
He seems to have a knack for explaining complex concepts in a way that's both insightful and entertaining.
Yeah, that's a rare gift.
It is. So if you're ready to unleash that intertextual Python, Poetry Master might be just the thing you need to get those creative juices flowing.
I might have to check that out.
So we've explored Stephen Pinkwart's 3 Python hacks to make our writing more captivating.
Yeah, from those surprise attacks to that final unforgettable bite.
We even unpacked his unconventional tips, like turning the mundane into the monstrous.
Right.
And really embracing our inner Python.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. But before we slither away from this deep dive, let's circle back to Pinkwart's book recommendation, Poetry Master.
Poetry Master. Yeah, it's a bit of a curious title considering we've been talking about pythons and IKEA shelves.
Right. You'd think it's all sonnets and rhyming couplets.
Yeah, exactly.
But Pinkwart assures us it's packed with practical writing advice for anyone.
Okay.
Regardless of their genre or experience level.
I see.
So what can listeners expect to find in this Poetry Master Guide?
Well, based on his blog post, I'd say it's a deep dive into the art of crafting compelling content.
Okay.
Think of it as a toolbox filled with techniques to make your writing sharper, more engaging.
Yeah.
And yes, even a little bit dangerous.
And let's be honest, a little dose of danger can be quite refreshing in the world of writing.
Especially when so much content out there feels safe and predictable.
Totally. Pinkwart encourages us to break free from those tired conventions, to find our own unique voice, and to embrace the power of unexpected twists and turns.
He's all about making a statement, leaving a lasting impression on the reader.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's raise a toast to Stephen Pinkwart and his unconventional approach to writing.
Cheers to that.
May we all be inspired to unleash our intertextual pythons and create content that truly captivates.
Absolutely.
And remember, as Stefan says, be creative. Maybe that dusty old wooden spoon in your drawer is just waiting to be transformed into a metaphor that will set the literary world on fire.
I love that. Until next time, keep those creative juices flowing and happy writing.